All right, before we get to our games of the week, Ash, I'm not talking about send me Drake-style money, but can you send me like $100 so we can get in on these Tom Brady futures?
What a snake. What an absolute snake. Like, listen, congrats to everybody who's a Tom Brady fan. He's coming back to do it again. But I knew that that was a fraudulent claim that he was retiring and he was going to pull a Gronkowski.
I think everyone did, especially when he was, this past week, he was in watching Ronaldo play, and Ronaldo came up to him and asked him, like, are you done with sports? And he's like,
I don't know. You know who didn't know? The guy who paid $500,000 for his last game ball. You know what, Brady? You need to reimburse him or at least have him out. No, at least have him out to a suite. Also, news coming out of the NFL. Mitch Trubisky joins the Steelers for
That's news?
I'm just trying to get some source news in. Can I do my job?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Mitch Trubisky signs a 2-year deal worth about $15 million with incentives. He can get up to $27 million. So he's going to play for the Steelers for the next 2 years at least.
He took the Chicago Bears to the playoffs with Matt Nagy, which is very hard. But yes, just check out the website because those futures are going crazy for the Bucs right now. So get in on them while they're hot. But you've got some games looking forward to in the NBA this week. Tell us about the slate you got.
So I've been super interested in who's been climbing the ladder in both the East and the West. I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks first and kind of like searching the standings. The Bucks are really coming into form right now, and they're pushing the Miami Heat for first in the conference. We've seen Brooklyn there. We've seen Miami there. We've seen Chicago there. It's kind of been a melee of everything. So Milwaukee, I'm looking at them to see if they can kind of push the pace. And then again in the West, the Memphis Grizzlies, baby.
Love me some Ja Morant. I mean, we talked about him in our Build-A-Player. I got him at hops, but this guy is legitimately going to win an MVP within the next 2 or 3 seasons.
He's got more tools than just his athleticism for sure. They're taking on the Atlanta Hawks, which is kind of an interesting matchup because they've now leapfrogged, at least for the time being, the Golden State Warriors, who are fighting for seconds. You have obviously Phoenix. They've clinched a playoff spot, the only team in the NBA to do so. But it's nice to see Memphis get there. But one thing I do want to kind of put a little attention on is now we're in the part of the season where players and teams are playing for playoff spots, wild cards, play-in tournaments. And so that does kind of swing the pendulum in terms of what game you can expect them to have, because that playoff push energy, whether or not it sustains throughout the postseason, that is real in the moment.
Momentum before the playoffs, that's what you need, especially when you're on the cusp of making the playoffs.
You want to be into an uptick.
Oh,
you want to be into an uptick. Okay, so who do you think is going to have your back this week? Because you got done dirty a couple of times, but you're going right back to the Edmonton Oilers pool for some reason.
I've been saying since week 1 of the NHL that Edmonton needs to establish themselves as an elite team. This is the year. They went all in on Duncan Keith. They've got Connor McDavid. Zach Hyman has become a bona fide star after leaving Toronto, as most Maple Leafs do. But they're taking on the New Jersey Devils, and that's a must-win at home. My second game is Pittsburgh versus Arizona. Pittsburgh has quietly become one of the top teams. Even though they have top players, no one is talking about them.
Sidney Crosby?
Yes.
Well, listen, one of the things about him, and I kind of liken it to what's going on with LeBron James in the NBA. LeBron is obviously an older guy. He gets slagged. You expect him to slow down eventually, but yet he keeps throwing up 50-point games in our faces and just like kind of spitting on the ground in front of us and be like, I told you so. Like, it's giving very Western. It's giving very cowboy. And I think Sidney Crosby, without as much pomp and circumstance, I guess, but that's just because the commentators in the NHL are different than the commentators in the NBA, but he has been playing fantastic, and I think you can say he's underrated at this point, mainly because he's kind of out of the conversation. We don't have that Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby spotlight that we had before.
Right, it's all going to the young kids, but the fact is, this guy's 35 years old, he's still averaging over a point a game. He's averaged over a point a game his whole career. He just produces.
Who else?
And my last game, okay, I'm going.
Sorry, I interrupted you 3 times. Who else?
Who else? I will tell you, Ashley. My last game, I got to go back to Calgary Flames. They're playing the Vancouver Canucks. Calgary has been hot. This is the time, and I keep saying this. You need to establish yourself as a top team because the Colorados, the Vegases, they have to start getting scared. So those are our picks of the week. We're going to have our full picks on Friday on Twitter. Check us out. She's at SmartAsh. I'm
Brad C.
The C is Silent Smith.